Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Maura and welcome to my 2025 Finish Parade. I just want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed and liked and commented on my last video. I got some really nice reactions on those, so I really appreciated it. Thank you so much for that. If you're a new subscriber, hi. Yeah, I'm Maura. I'm 29 years old and I live in Ghent. And I'm a monogamous stitcher, so I don't really work on a lot of projects throughout the year, but I do finish quite a few of them. So I thought a finish parade would be a good idea to just kind of show you what my general aesthetic and style of stitching is. So you guys can decide if you want to, follow me along for 2026 as well. So I have about 18 projects that I finished this year and I'm going to be showing them in chronological order. But some of them were gifts, so I don't have them physically with me here anymore. So I'll be projecting them somewhere around me so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think we're just going to jump straight into it. This is going to be the first project of 2025, and I started this in 2024, and I like to start and end the year with Fancy Lady. So this year I'm working on Deepest Love by Mirabilia, but in 2024/2025, this was my project. This is Nightingale by Mirabilia Designs, using all the called for except for the fabric. So this is dark blue spruce linen by Zweigart, 32 count. And also the one change that I did make was to the cry neck in the lantern. So this is glow-in-the-dark cry neck, but I didn't really like working with it. And I do know that I quite like working with the glow-in-the-dark thread from DMC. So I think I did a blend of either or both of those, or I did some stitches in old DMC, some stitches in all cry neck. I think I played around a lot with the lantern because it doesn't really look the neatest either. But yeah, I love the overall design, and she is very bead heavy, so I really love it when you tug at the linen. You can really feel the weight of the design. I really love it when that happens. But yeah, this is what she looks like. I love the fabric I chose for this. Yeah, I think she's beautiful. This is her. This is Nightingale. The next project that I started was a gift. So I'm gonna be projecting it here somewhere. It was a stitch that I made for a friend's first baby, and it was a free chart from the DMC website. And since then, I haven't been able to find that chart again, so I'm not sure if it's still on there. But if it is, then I think you can just like look up the website and type something like initials or something. So yeah, it was for a baby, and I didn't want it to be overly babyish because I wanted it to be something that could, age along with the kid and, have it in his room for however long they wanted it there. So I wanted something that was quite neutral. And I didn't really know anything about, I don't think I knew the sex of the baby yet, and I didn't know the name of the baby yet. So yeah, for those reasons, I wanted to keep it pretty neutral as a design. So I picked that one because it was just like an initial in the middle and then some borders around it. So I could be creative with colors. I could enter the initial after the baby name was announced. So yeah, the only thing that I knew was that the room was going to be decorated in warm colors. So I decided to go with oranges. And then yeah, once the baby was born, I entered in the initial and it was ready to be given to my friends. So yeah, that's what she looks like. And I think she was stitched on 32 count sand linen by Studio Koekoek. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to mention. Oh, I did like that in one of the borders, there's like a heart motif. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why I chose that one, because it was still like, new baby adjacent, I guess. Like, oh, we love the new baby. So yeah, that's why I picked that one. Yeah, really handy design. So yeah. For my next project, I went straight back into a Fancy Lady, but this time it was a lavender and lace. And here she is. This is Angelica. She is stitched on 32 count Lucan or Lucen fabric. Lucan or Lucen, I'm not really sure what it is. I got it from Casa Chinina. And it does feel like a little bit sturdier than regular linen. Like it feels like it has some weight to it and some structure to it that regular linen doesn't. It feels less floppy and a lot more, sturdy. But it did only come in one color. So I'm not really sure if that's like just something that they can't dye it in any other colors or something, but this was the only color they had. But I'm happy with what it looks like with this design. I stitched her mainly because I saw June X Stitch on Instagram. They had stitched her, but I had really not done all that much research, and they had made some adjustments to the design, which made it look a lot more colorful. So I thought I was going to get that design. But yeah, once I stitched and kitted her up, I was realizing, oh, these colors are a lot more muted than I expected. And that kind of, it didn't make me disappointed in the project, but it made me less enthusiastic about it. Yeah, it was just like, this is I think here is the middle of the pattern. Like, oh God, how am I showing this? Like, you know, where all those like muted blues and greens are. So I was just doing these chunks of colors that really weren't all that vibrant in my eyes. And it was also the middle of winter when I was stitching her, so I was really craving some color. But yeah, I should have just gone straight up and gone to those roses, because those are really vibrant. And I think if I also had maybe stitched the face first, because her face is incredible. She is, I mean, I feel like she looks kind of like an angel of vengeance, and I love that about her. She looks like so, I don't know, I just love the personality that she has in her face. I think maybe if I'd stitched upwards instead of downwards, I might have, you know, enjoyed the pattern more, but then, yeah, I would have, you know, had to do these bits at the end. So I'm not really sure. I'm really happy with the result. It's just like at the time that I was stitching it, it wasn't what I was expecting to be stitching, that kind of thing. But yeah, she's lovely. She's beautiful. Definitely will not be my last lavender and lace. I have some ready to go. Well, not ready to go, but I have some patterns that I recently purchased that I really want to do in the future. So yeah, definitely not my last. I've been thinking, because in my little needle workshop, there's been this lady passing by for framing jobs and stuff, like that. And she's done all of the like spring, winter, autumn ladies from Lavender and Lace, and they are so shiny and so bead heavy and so beautiful. So now I've been thinking about collecting those. So yeah, I think if I'm going to be starting lavender and lace patterns anytime in the future, it's probably going to be those. But I do have others, but yeah. So this was her. For this next project, this is really exciting. This is one that I got professionally framed by the people at Jarenhuis in Ghent. That's my little needle workshop, and they also, yeah, do framing. And I really love the frame that I chose for this. I thought it was going to be kind of similar to the color in the P and everything. And I think I did a pretty good matchup of that. So yeah, this is Random Thoughts by the Drawn Thread. I got this as a kit from the Nimble Thimble in the UK. This is stitched on 32 count with all of the called for. I did have kind of a bit of difficulty when stitching this because the pattern calls for a 1/2, and I generally don't like to stitch 1/2, or I don't like to stitch with one thread, you know, period. Especially over 32 count, because I like puffy stitches. But in this case, I think it really suits the design, and I'm really happy with the results. So yeah, I personalized it a little bit by adding my name, adding Taylor Swift's initials, because I thought, you know, the pattern is called Random Thoughts, and, you know, song lyrics just randomly pop into my head, so, and they're usually hers, so I thought it would be a good homage to her. I think that the original pattern though calls for actual like drawn thread and like, I think it's called a hard hanger techniques, where you like pull the thread out. But I was too scared to do it with this, because I was like, as I was stitching this is not my regular aesthetic. But as I was stitching this, I was loving the look of it more and more. And I really didn't want to ruin it with, you know, making mistakes and like cutting the fabric and everything, especially because it was a kit that came from the UK. So if this fabric was gone, I wouldn't know like how to get the other one, how to get this color again. I don't know what color it came with. So yeah, just for that, I decided not to do the drawn thread techniques, and I just moved the border into the design so it would be around the same place where the drawn thread would be happening. So yeah, normally I think here you're supposed to see it like through the fabric because of that technique, and then afterwards you would have the border. But I'm actually really happy that I decided to do that, because also like when framing, I actually don't know like how that would look nice if you have like holes within your fabric. Like I chose this framing because it's without glass, but it's like puffed up. That's something that my local needle shop offers, and like I'm assuming there's some kind of type of foam somewhere behind this to have this kind of be puffed up. And so yeah, if there's like holes in the fabric and everything, like I'm not sure what that would look like. So I'm really happy that I skipped that part. And yeah, I love this framing job. I love everything about this design. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of, even though it's like not my usual style. Like even my family said that this is one of the prettiest things I've made, and I have to agree. So yeah, this is Random Thoughts by the Drawn Thread. I think I stitched this, yeah, no, I don't remember the dates. I think it was somewhere in winter. It feels like a kind of wintry design, so yeah. This is her. So this next project I don't have with me physically because this is what I call my parents' project, which is the project that I leave at my parents' house to stitch on when I'm visiting them over weekends. So it usually takes me a couple of years to finish one of these. And this one I started in 2023 and finished this in 2025. We're 2026 already, yay! So yeah, this is called Autumn Foliage. It's a kit by Riolis, and it's all using acrylic threads, so the stitches itself are quite puffy because it feels like woolly and stuff. I also think the Ada is a lower count. I think it's like 10 or 12 count Ada, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I really love the design. The colors on this are beautiful. The only thing I'm worried about is at one point, if I ever want to frame that design, you know, a rectangle would work, but then you would also see the Ada, and I feel like it would be kind of irregular looking in contrast with the oval shape of the design. But then if we were to do an oval frame, I'm not sure it would completely fit because like it's not a perfect oval in itself, the design. So yeah, that's something to think about in the future. But yeah, this is what she looks like. I hope I'm being able to hover it here somewhere. Yeah, she's pretty. That's about all I can say about her. So for my next design, we have another fancy lady, and this time it's a Bella Filipina, Aquabella Crystal Mermaid. So this is what she looks like. Very sparkly, very bead heavy. I love her, she's beautiful. So this was my first ever Bella Filipina. It won't be my last. I also have a couple of others kitted up. And I think she's just you know, perfect. I stitched her using all of the called for, including the fabric. So this is 32 counts Till I Come Home by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. And this was quite an undertaking for me because I never buy things from outside of the EU because I'm terrified of like import taxes. I've heard some horror stories. But at that time, we had friends of family living in the US, and I was able, they allowed me to ship these fabrics from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers to them, and they would take it back to Belgium for me. So because of that, I now have quite a few Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers fabrics, and I'm really excited to be using them. But yeah, at the time, that was like such a huge thing for me. Like, wow, I have something that came from the US. I have like access to all these hand-dyed fabrics. And yeah, I bought quite a few of them, and this is the first one that I used. Really enjoyed it. I don't think I have anything else to mention. Oh yeah, because it was my first Bella Filipina, I was kind of surprised by the pattern because I've only stitched Mirabilia and Lavender and Lace up until now when it comes to fancy ladies. And so when I opened up the pattern for this one, I was like in shock because it was like multiple pages and there were colors. So I was really surprised by that, but I enjoyed stitching her. I enjoyed the pattern. I'm just seeing some ends that I still need to cut off here. But yeah. All in all, I think this was just a beautiful project. I did stitch the skin 1/1, and oh my god, she has a lot of skin. Like this was, yeah. this was interesting. It was almost soul-sucking, but I'm still here, so kind of been that bad. Yeah, this is what she looks like. I'm really proud of her. She's really sparkly. I love her. This next design I don't have with me because it was a gift from my grandma. So this is Take Time to Quilt Autumn by Jeannette Douglas. It was stitched on 40 count Xjudesign linen in the color Baby Sheep. It was my first time working on 40 count, so that was interesting. And I used none of the called for. What I did is I just picked some Karen water lilies that I felt kind of matched the colors of the mock-up, and that's why I used to stitch it. Yeah, I really loved the result. 40 count was interesting. It's something that I kind of want to try again, especially because I do love those Jeannette Douglas, like those square designs like this one. And I have another one, I think that's called Take Time to Stitch, that I want to make for myself. And I'm thinking about using the same fabric again so I can kind of match it to the one that I gave my grandma. But yeah, that's what she looks like, and I'm really happy with what she turned out to look like. Very autumny colors, I think. Yeah, very pretty. So for my next design, we have a twofer. So this is Moon Glow by Nora Corbett. I showed this one in my last video as well. So I stitched this one twice because I wanted to make one for my friend's housewarming. I started stitching her and decided I love the design so much that I want to stitch it for myself as well. So this is the design I made for my friend. This is on a random scrap of Zweigart. I'm not sure about the color, but it's 32 count. Using all of the called for except for I believe this purplish color in the blanket, and the colors in the roses on her body. So those are just some regular DMC variations colors, I believe. I don't think I had the water lilies for those. And also I did not stitch the beads for this one. I substituted those with Kreinik, both sparkly and glow in the dark. But yeah, this is what she looks like. She's going to my friend when she has completed her home renovations, and she'll be a housewarming gift. And then we have my design, which I had framed by the lovely people at Xjudesign in Ghent. They're the same people who framed my Random Thoughts design. So yeah, this is my version. This is 36 count sampler blue linen by Xjudesign. So this is what she looks like. I did stitch her with the beads. Yeah, I like the frame for this one. This is not my regular style of framing. I'm not really into the rustic look in that sense. And I also don't really like dark wood, but I felt like she fit the design really nicely. It kind of matched the color of her hair, so that's why I chose this one. And I really like the results. I was worried because I had another design framed at another place with beads, and the fabric on that one got really distorted and like warped and everything. So I was really scared that with a design that's quite bead heavy, especially in the moon, that the fabric would also kind of look warped once it was framed, but it doesn't, probably because they're professionals doing it and they have experience with you know, framing beaded projects, and the other framers didn't. So I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. I think she's absolutely beautiful. This next design was also a gift. This was stitched for my brother and his girlfriend and their cat. So they had a new cat, and I decided to make something honoring this perfect feline. I changed the design to look like the actual colors of the cat and changed the wording to include the name of the cat. This was stitched on icy blue 32 count linen by Zweigart. It's one of my favorite fabrics, and you'll see because I think the next two projects also use it. But yeah, this is what they look like. Yeah, and I love Needlelotdesigns designs in general because she includes such like personality into her animals, and she has great like mock-ups and everything on her website. Like her fabric choices are on point every single time. Yeah, really like their designs. I think I stitched 2 this year. But yeah, this is making biscuits. So this next one I also got framed at Xjudesign in Ghent, and this is called Lily of the Valley by The Drawn Threads. So this is what she looks like, and there's some specialty stitches in there. This was also stitched on 32 count icy blue linen by Zweigart. And yeah, I don't think I used the called for. I think the called for were all kind of hand dyed, so I believe I just looked up the equivalent DMC colors to those on some kind of online converter. And I used some Caron water lilies here and there as well, like for example in the lavender, I think they're lavender bushes. But yeah, this is what she looks like, and this is like generally my aesthetic of what I like to see in stitches. Like I mentioned this in my last video, like the things that I like to stitch and the things that I like to see framed are two very different things. But yeah, this is one of those cases where both I wanted to stitch it and I wanted to see it hanging up in my house, because this is like my general style of things that I like to see. I was also able to personalize it a bit by adding in my initials and my year of birth. And yeah, really love this, and it's made me want to do more kind of band samplers, because this is quite a small one, but I've seen some really beautiful, very long designs that I really want to stitch in the future. But yeah, this is her. This is Lily of the Valley, and I think she's gorgeous. I'm really happy with the framing job. I'm really happy with the choice I made. Yeah. Alright, the next one is a framing job by me. So this was just an online order that I made based on the dimensions. So this is Hummingbirds by Owl Forest Embroidery, also stitched on 32 count Icy Blue. Used the DMCs that were suggested by the pattern because we don't have access to the hand-dyed threads that they have. But this was my holiday design. So this is the design I took with me on my holidays, my summer holidays this year. So this project saw, I think, Turkey and England. Yeah, and I really love this one, especially to stitch in the summer because the colors are so bright and beautiful. And this is another one of those cases where both the look of the design and the actual stitching of the design, both of those I liked, and I want to see this one framed. I'm really looking forward to actually hanging this one up. But yeah, this is what she looks like. I'm really happy with the frame as well. Like, this is my general style of what I like to see in frames. But yeah, this one, the colors, they're just, they drew, I mean, this green particularly is one of my favorite greens in DMC. I think it's 166, but I'm not entirely sure. And also just like the combination with the pinks and the blues, like this is gorgeous. I'm really happy with what it looks like, how it came out. And it made me want to try some more Owl Forest embroidery designs, but that's something for in the future because I do have a lot of plans for 2026. And I feel like it's been a while since I showed you a Fancy Lady, so we're getting back into it. Here is Botanical Garden by Mirabilia. She is stitched on 32 count fabric by Studio Koekoek. Not sure about the name, but it's with this gold lurex in it, so I'm gonna zoom in hopes that you can see the sparkle. And she's quite a small Mirabilia. I only took about a month to stitch her. I think it might also be because I decided to stitch the skin 2/2 instead of my usual 1/1. So I think that sped up the process quite a bit. But I really love the look of her. She's also quite small. Yeah, I'm actually really happy that I decided to stitch her because she was really not on like my roster of Mirabilias that I wanted to stitch next. Like I have a list in my head of which ones I really want to work on. And she was a project that was only going to, you know, pop up in a couple of years according to my initial planning. But I had started kitting up Midsummer Night's Fairy by Mirabilia, and I was feeling very conflicted about the fabric that I had chosen. And so I didn't want to stitch something and like halfway through decide that I didn't really like the fabric that I chose. So I decided, you know, until you can actually make a decision on this fabric, stitch another Mirabilia to just kind of give yourself time to decide. And that's why I pulled her out. So yeah, she wasn't going to be stitched for another couple of years, but then because basically because I needed a distraction, I pulled her out, and I'm really happy that I did because I really loved the results. The colors on her were absolutely beautiful. And yeah, so this next design is something I made for a friend as his housewarming gift. This is Hang On Kitty by Dimensions, and not a lot to mention about this because I used everything from the kit. If anybody has any tips on how to work with the DMC, with the Dimensions like thread organizer thing, I really don't like the way that works. So if anybody has like their own method or solution on making those organizers like not together or easier to pull out threads, let me know because I didn't enjoy working with that. But yeah, I love the result. Me and my friend kind of have an inside joke when it comes to designs like this with like cats hanging from trees. So I saw this design stitched on, like fully stitched in a convention. I think it was Knit and Stitch in London. And saw it on one of those stands, and I was like, okay, immediately I have to make this for him. So yeah, I did. Really happy. He enjoyed it. He immediately put it on his desk. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I think it's really cute. My next finish was also a purchase at the Knit and Stitch show in London, and this time with the stand for Hawkins Hobbies, and they were really lovely, so I enjoyed shopping with them. This is a Mill Hill kit called Bird Feeder, and it's stitched on perforated paper, and it's my first time stitching on that. And I really enjoyed it, and I really want to try more of those. I did make a mistake when I was centering my design. So as you can see, in almost the near center of the design, there's supposed to be this bead in the middle of the bird feeder. And I assumed that the pattern was both showing the the correct placement of the bead and also showing the center of the pattern at the same time. So I miscalculated that. Because of that, I do have some more space left over here than I do here. But you know, it fits the perforated paper, which is, you know, thank God, because I figured out very late into the design that I had miscentered. So yeah, really relieved when I found out that I could still finish the design without, you know, overstepping the perforated paper. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I am kind of worried about, I do want to stitch more of these, but I am kind of worried about the situation that happens when you have to frame them, because it's not like you can bend over the perforated paper, I think, to make it fit the frame. So I'm assuming people just cut it to size whenever they find a frame that fits the design. But for me, that's still like a little bit too scary to do. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find out how people frame these when I want to stitch more of these designs. I do have my eyes on the Aurora Borealis design, I believe. And if I were to make that one, I would want to have it hang up. But yeah, that's something for the future. I don't really have any immediate plans to do more mill hills, but if I were to see like a really nice Christmas design or something, because I have seen some beautiful ornaments, I might be, you know, interested in doing more this year. But at this moment, I don't really have any plans for 2026 to stitch on more mill hills. But yeah, it was a really nice experience, and I'm happy I tried this. This next design was actually gifted to me by the brand itself. This is Rosarium Whispers Mini Kit by I Make Stitch. They reached out to me on TikTok. I was already following them on TikTok and on Instagram because I really love their designs. They use a lot of beads and specialty stitches and everything, and that's really the kind of thing that I'm interested in. And also it was kind of reminding me of chatelaines, and I thought, you know, stitching one of these at some point would be a good preparation to starting a chatelaine design, because they use a lot of specialty stitches. And then they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted one, and I was like, heck yes! So yeah, really happy I got to choose this one myself. And what I really love about this is that it came with the frame and all the passe-partouts and everything included. I think that's like the biggest luxury I've ever had. This stitch only took me 2 days to finish, and then afterwards I was immediately able to have it framed and hanging up on my wall. Framing for me generally is kind of not enjoyable, but a little bit stressful, because I'm always wondering, like, what if it doesn't really suit the design? What if it doesn't, what if it's not centered correctly, or I find something afterwards that I think is kind of prettier? That kind of thing. So for this to just, you know, make this decision for me, like, you have the frame, you have the passe-partouts, everything included, you don't need to make any decisions regarding that. It just made things so much easier for me, and I love the design. I love that I was able to hang it up immediately, and yeah. Okay, last two designs. These were both gifts, so I don't have them with me because we were nearing the holiday period. But the first one is called Rose Garden by Unique Needle Art on Etsy. They are called Yulia Craft Pattern on Instagram, I believe. This was stitched for my godmother, and I stitched this on 36 count baby sheep linen by Xjudesign. And I changed the flowers from pink to blue because that's my godmother's favorite color. And yeah, it was another one of those cross stitch plus designs where you get to try specialty stitches. And I really enjoy those. 36 count was, again, something new for me. I usually do 32 count for most of my designs, but I really love the result. Yeah, it includes beading, it includes specialty stitches, and I found a nice blue frame to suit the design. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And now we have my final project of the year, which was also a gift for a coworker whose birthday is in mid-January. So I have this design with me. It's just all wrapped up, so I can't show it, but I'll show a picture here. I also showed it in my last video with the frame and everything. So yeah, this is a Red Panda by Needlelotdesigns, stitched on 32 count Lucan. Not sure about the color, but I think I mentioned it somewhere in one of my Instagram posts in case you're interested in knowing about that. But yeah, a really nice stitch, really happy with the fabric that I chose. I enjoy Needlelotdesigns artwork a lot. They also, I said this in the previous video as well, like, she has such great mock-ups of like the designs because she chooses her fabrics so well. For this one I went rogue with the fabric, but I'm really happy with the choice I made. But yeah, that was my final design for the year, excepting my current whip. So I'm just gonna pull that out now, so just in case you guys want an update of how far I'm along with Deepest Love by Mirabilia. But yeah, so that was all my finishes of the year. I'll just show you my current whip, the one I technically ended 2025 with, and then we're ready with the video. So this is the project I ended 2025 with. This is Deepest Love by Mirabilia. I think I started her on the 5th of December. And currently I'm working on the skin and trying to color complete some shades in hopes of getting that done pretty quickly, because 1/1 skin can take a while. And after that, I think I just need to complete some stitching on her hair and some stitching down here before moving on to the beads. What I do have kind of like a superstition when it comes to Mirabilia, is that when it comes to the stitching, I always want to finish the face first. Like, I think for her, for example, I'm going to keep the eyes blank until the very last stitches need to be made, so I can finish off her face last thing and then start with the beading. That's kind of just like a superstition that I have. But yeah, this is what she looks like, and I think a January of 2026 finish is definitely reasonable and reachable. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the month, I'll be able to show you a new finish and my first finish of 2026. Okay, so that was everything for 2025. I feel like I talked so much. Yeah, I hope this shows you a good variety of all the projects that I like to stitch. So we had some fancy ladies, some samplers, some specialty stitches, some beading. Yeah, different projects, different fabrics, everything like that. So I hope some of that was interesting to you and that you guys want to follow along to see all the projects that I have planned for 2026. If so, please feel free to subscribe or follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm also the Champagne Stitcher on those. For 2026, I do have quite a few interesting projects planned. I do have a rough planning of when I want to start which project. So I think the next one after Deepest Love will be a drawn thread kit again. And maybe some free embroidery, because I did get like a freehand embroidery kit for my Christmas gift. I wanted to finish this video off by saying thank you so much for watching. I'm guessing this video is over an hour long, so good on you for keeping up until now. I feel like my voice is almost gone. But yeah, 2025 was a good year for stitching, and it's looking like 2026 will be good as well based on my plans at the moment. So yeah, looking forward to that. And I hope that that's the same case for you. I hope you have some nice stitching plans for 2026. If you do, please share them in the comments, because I'm always ready to be enabled. But yeah, that will be it for this video. I want to thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. All the interactions were really appreciated on my last videos. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good 2026, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!